Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use, tips a balance in favor of fair use. Okay, this is from Sky News.com. A moral failing report finds child sexual abuse prevalent in institutions across major UK religions. Between early 2015 and January 2020, of all known institutions where abuse had taken place, 11%, 443 instances, were committed within a religious organization or setting. In one instance, a young boy was abused during Sunday school camps. Jenny's got a gun. Megan Harwood Baines, social affairs and health reporter. Dated 3 September 2021. The independent inquiry into child sexual abuse found shocking failings. Child sexual abuse is prevalent in faith institutions across most major religions in the UK, with a report accusing these organizations of blatant hypocrisy and moral failings. If you guys knew what kind of lizard vampires were running things, you would know why it goes on. The independent inquiry into child sexual abuse, IICSA, found shocking failings across a number of organizations in cases of abuse perpetrated by religious followers. Between early 2015 and January 2020, of all known institutions where abuse had taken place, 11%, 443 instances, were committed within a religious organization or setting. 10% of suspects, 726 people, were employed by or somehow linked to a religious organization or setting. However, there is likely to be significant underreporting. The IICSA said, underreporting, I wonder what the LAPD knows about that, adding, there is no way of knowing the true scale of such abuse. In one instance, 4 children were sexually abused when they were approximately 9 years old, whilst being taught the Quran by a teacher in a mosque. In 2017, the perpetrator was convicted and sentenced to 13 years in jail. That's all? That's all he gets, you guys. Why not just put him in general population? That's the best answer. Just put these pedos in the general population. They know how to cleanse the earth. Another 10-year-old girl was abused by a church volunteer. You guys volunteer. That sounds kind of suspicious, doesn't it? But when her mother discloses to the police, the church minister said the abuser was valued. Isn't that great? So that really screams Scientology to me. And must be considered innocent until proven guilty. You guys know that they could get a video of the guy R-ing the little girl and they would still deny it, right? What do you think they're doing at night? What do you think? Jenny's got a gun. It was later discovered the abuser had been dismissed from a police force. Well, how about that, you guys? This is very vague. They're not saying the names of the institutions or the police forces. Following charges of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor, otherwise known as rape, guys. It's otherwise known as RAPE, rape, a violent act against someone's will, whether it's a child or an adult. It's against someone's will, taking someone by force. In case nobody knew. One young boy was abused by a Sunday school activity leader during religious camps. It's always where they get them. You guys notice this? They flock to where the children are. You guys see? During religious camps, shortly after his mother died. Well, that takes it to a new level. And I can't help but thinking about when supposedly Michael Jackson was helping that little boy Ryan who had AIDS. Do you guys remember that? I do. I remember it. What's the best victim? Figure that. What's the best victim? The 7-year-old was told not to tell anyone because no one in the church would believe him. Professor Alexis J., chair of the inquiry, said religious organizations are defined by the moral purpose of teaching right from wrong and protection of the innocent and the vulnerable. Children. However, when we heard about shocking failures to prevent and respond to child sexual abuse across almost all major religions, go check out John Wedger, you guys, please. It became clear many are operating in direct conflict with this mission. Blaming the victims, fears of reputational damage, like black PR, and discouraging external reporting, kind of like the LAPD, are some of the barriers victims and survivors face, as well as clear indicators of religious organizations prioritizing their own reputations, like Scientology, above all else, just like narcissists. For many, these barriers have been too difficult to overcome. And I want to add in there too, you guys ever see it's always the same thing with these scum. The school boards that are doing it, the schools, I believe there was actually one here in Wisconsin. I forget, I have to go look it up. It was freaking sick. The faculty of this school, various faculty members had been abusing the children for years, for like 15, 20 years, and nobody did a fucking thing about it. Nothing changed. Survivors criticized Jehovah's Witness elders for failing over child sexual abuse. Basically, they got the kids in a cage. I mean, it's not like a real cage like the Satanists do, but it's like, in a way, it's kind of like a metaphorical cage. The altar boys are kind of in a cage. The Boy Scouts out in the middle of nowhere in a camp with strange men that they don't know. Which, I mean, sometimes parents are just naive. I understand that. But you just can't. You can't let your child go with these strange people. And let's be honest, sometimes it's in the family. My mom always had an answer for that, which it never happened in my house. It would have been the last time. Barriers to reporting abuse included victim blaming. Of course it was. Like your O2D and the Jehovah's Witnesses. They have to have 2 witnesses, elders, which usually turn to be either they're pedophiles themselves or pedophile friendly. So it doesn't go anywhere. In Scientology, the children are told they're O2D. In the Kingston church, which is basically a cult, it's all incestual. And they marry the little girls at 9 and 10. Isn't that fantastic, you guys? I guess that's religious freedom, raping little girls. Included victim blaming and absence of discussions about sex and sexuality. The discouragement of external reporting, like LAPD, in prioritizing the organization's reputation above the needs of victims. Always the same story. I couldn't think of the lady's name before, Ruby Frank. What a devil. And the counselor lady that was with her, complete devils. The report recommended all religious organizations have a child protection policy. It doesn't matter if they're not going to follow it. Just like all these rich people that don't follow the laws. Like Diddy and people like that. Policy and support procedures. It said the government should legislate to amend the definition of full-time education to bring any setting that is the pupil's primary place of education within the scope of a registered school. I mean, I like the idea, but I got mixed feelings on that. But, I mean, children can be perpetrated against anywhere. I think people that are perpetrators find ways. So it could be that if someone is homeschooling, they have more access to the child and the child is more isolated so they can abuse them even worse. We've seen that. But then we've also seen children abused at the schools, like the Delphian School, like you name how many other schools. There's an answer for that, but I can't say what it is here. This would provide Ofsted with sufficient powers to examine the quality of child protection when undertaking an inspection of suspected unregistered schools. See, this is how Scientology gets away with all this too. Not just Scientology. Please go check out John Wedger. He's got a lot of old videos on YouTube. How has sexual abuse become not worth reporting? Well, we should maybe ask the LAPD that, or Clearwater PD. I bet they got an answer. Follow the daily podcast on Apple, Google, or Spotify, Spreaker. Currently, an estimated 250,000 children in England and Wales receive supplementary schooling from a faith organization. Also, go look into what is going on with Child Protective Services in the UK. I don't know what they call it there. You guys, it's really sick. How do you think the elite have, get access and to traffic the children and all the other stuff they do? People that don't have money or they don't have means are nothing to them. And they're all raised in complete depravity and vile, evil filth is how they're raised. And they're psychopaths. There is also no central list on Register of Faith-Based Organizations in England and Wales, despite the Charity Commission estimating that there are over 34,000 organizations. Interesting number. Richard Score, specialist abuse lawyer at Slater and Gordon, who acts for 7 victim and survivor groups in the inquiry, including those representing Jewish, South Asian, and Jehovah's Witnesses survivors, said, "Today's report confirms that some religious groups have catastrophically failed to protect children, like Scientology, in their care, and that many have patchy or non-existent safeguarding policies and support for victims and survivors of abuse. This is simply unacceptable." How you like that, Scientology? It is clear from the report that too many religious organizations continue to prioritize the protection, reputation, and authority of religious leaders, narcissism, above the rights of children. It comes as abuse victims told Sky News, "There was a culture with the Jehovah's Witnesses that fails those looking for help and puts others at risk." No different than the Boy Scouts. They all do the same thing. The IICSA examined evidence from 38. I think 38 is the death number. I'm pretty sure. 38 religious organizations with a presence in England and Wales, including Buddhism, Hinduism, paganism, Christianity, and new religious movements such as Scientology, among others. There's also pedophilia in Buddhism too, unfortunately. It sought evidence from individuals that represented the majority of those with religious affiliations within England and Wales, of which 59% of the population, 59 is a very important number, I don't want to get into it right now, identifies as Christian, 25% of no religion, 5% Muslim, 4% other, including Judaism, Sikhism, Hinduism, and Buddhism, and 7% not stated. I still get flashbacks, 5 heart-wrenching stories of child abuse in churches. The report was based on 16 days of public hearings held during March, May, and August last year. The final report with findings from all 19 sections of the investigation, launched in 2014, will be laid before Parliament next summer. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, guys, I am pretty sure 38 is a number for death. So I don't feel like going and searching for it right now, but I remember this one, in case anyone wants to think that I'm exaggerating. This is a movie called Murder by Numbers, because that's what they believe in. So I'll leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night, wherever you are. Peace.